Hey everyone, it's Joe with Russound. I'm here with Robbie today. We're going to show you how to do the web configuration when you're setting up an SMZ-8 for the first time. Take it away.
Yeah, this is assuming that the SMZ is already online. If you need assistance connecting it to the network, we have a previous video that we did about that. But assuming that, with the blue light on the front of it, we're going to go ahead and open up the Russound app. So after the SMZ has been online, you want to go ahead and, obtain the IP address it's being assigned. So we can access the place that we can configure and set up the sources and the zones, for an example. So the easiest way that I've found to obtain the IP address is if you open up the Russound app, once it locates the system, there's a settings gear icon up in the top right-hand corner of the Russound app. And if you just press and hold down on that, you're going to get an admin settings window to pop up, and it easily shows you the IP address at the top of that menu. And you can do an IP scan or a network scan, log into your router to obtain that IP address, but this is generally the quickest.
There's also a direct link to go right to WebConfig too.
There is, yeah. The third option down is the SMZ-8 settings, and if you tap on that, it will automatically open up the web browser on your device to the status page of the SMZ-8. So we have some options here at the top of the screen: status, admin, setup, and support. So we're just going to go ahead and tap the setup tab, and the first option is source settings. Now, you can probably see that some of these are default named, like the first source is the internal streaming module.
Right.
And if you didn't want to utilize that, you could always change it to something else, but we recommend that you use the internal streamer. And then you have the Bluetooth, which isn't the internal Bluetooth on the SMZ. That's if you have our BTC2X, which easily allows you to connect the Cat5 to that unit, to the back BTC2X port on this unit, it'll automatically be programmed in there. And then the third source is the HDMI ARC by default. So we're just going to go ahead and disable some of the sources that we're not going to utilize. So for this example, what we'll do is we'll uncheck sources 5, 6, 7, and 8, just so if you're not utilizing them, you don't see a bunch of empty sources within the Russound app.
And what if I want to add, let's say we're looking at source 4. Let's say I want to make that a DVD player. I've got a Sony DVD player in the other room. What do I do there?
So if you have a Sony DVD player, the first thing you want to do is rename the source. And to rename the source is very easy. You just tap where it says source 4, for an example. You can backspace the name, and you can type in Sony DVD player if you wanted to.
Blu-ray player to be exact, but right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still call Blu-ray players DVD players because I'm old.
That's okay. I do too. As you can see, it automatically, there's no save button that comes up when you rename a source. It automatically will just give you a green check mark next to it, and that will automatically change within the Russound app as well. So you don't have to manually save anything on this screen.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So for source 4, we can hit the edit button, and we have our source information. Now, the most important, is this device type,
Okay.
And currently it's set for miscellaneous audio. And under manufacturer, there are going to be a bunch of different options for different manufacturers that have devices. And here we have Sony. And if you're using, that DVD player with IR, generally the first available device code is going to be the one if you are, utilizing IR. But that's another video that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's a lot we can do with IR.
That's correct.
That's very expansive with macros, but yeah, that'll be good for another video.
Definitely, and if it's if it's only an analog output on the DVD player, it automatically will choose under audio input that it's analog 4. If not, you can change it to digital optical 4 if you have an optical output and want to use that on your DVD player.
Excellent.
Once you're done doing that, you just hit the done button at the bottom, and then we can show you how to rename zones as well. So going up to the setup tab, tapping that, the second option down is zone settings. And here you can just see that you have, default generated zone names, zones 1 through 8. We're going to be using 4 again for this example, so we're just going to go ahead and disable the zones we're not utilizing by just tapping the check mark next to them. And renaming the zones, just like on the sources menu, is just as easy as doing that. Just go ahead tapping the name and backspacing the name. We're going to do, our zone 1 is going to be kitchen. Give it a second, and it will automatically save the name. Zone 2 is going to be living room. Zone 3 is going to be our master bedroom. And Zone 4 is going to be our office. And what I'll do is I'm going to go back to the Russound app. I'll just kind of show you, and it's going to relocate the SMZ. And if we go down to the bottom of the app for rooms, you'll actually see the 4 rooms that we changed the name of: kitchen, living room, master bedroom, and office. You're not going to see the other ones because we globally disabled them within the zone list.
Nice.
And then go into the browse menu is how you access your sources on the SMZ through the Russound app. You're going to see the top 4 that we left enabled. We have Streamer,
Excellent.
the Bluetooth, the HDMI ARC, and then the Sony DVD player.
Yep. Perfect.
Perfect.
So that was easy enough.
Yeah. I mean, there's more, to WebConfig. There's more options you can do in there, like you explained. You can set up IR and macros for source, information. You could do firmware updates, through the through WebConfig by going to the admin tab at the top, selecting firmware update here. We already did a web update in a previous video on this unit, so it's going to say it's up to date. You can also see information on the status page of the controller, like the serial number, its MAC address, and some different networking information as well. But yeah, a lot of what you're going to be doing is through the setup tab, through the source and the zone menu.
Nice. Yeah, excellent.
Very good. Well, that's a quick look on how to do different setups on the WebConfig pages of the SMZ. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and for additional content.